This was a design from the 1940s or 1950s for a hotel and also a residence for people to live in. This giant building is one giant hotel and one giant cul-de-sac or small town. The idea was to build this building and then build thousands of apartments for people to live in. There's a front gate entrance here, there's a parking lot and another entrance on this side. Here is the buildings from the inside. The roof is open, it's square, rectangular, but also there's a circle around it, a ring design. There are stairs here or escalator. There are trees inside. This is a giant apartment complex building full of apartment buildings inside. This project was never initiated. Next we have this. This was designed for a person who designed the ultimate fortified building, the ultimate fortified city. This is a design for the ultimate fortified city, fortified from each side. A building that cannot be attacked without the people noticing it. Every side is guarded and protected, and every side has view of every direction. This is the ultimate fortified city design. But it was never put to the test. Here we have this design for a dragon administrative building or palace. It has two dragons, one on each side. This was designed by the same person who designed those cube buildings I showed you in the last architectural videos. This was never built in the real world. Here we have this. This actually existed, I believe. Oh no, this is an abandoned idea for the Paris exposition. The architect is Esnault Pelterier. So this was never built. This is actually a very brilliant idea. You see this dome here? This hollow dome? It could serve sort of like an umbrella in rainy or stormy days, keeping the people dry who are under it. This is a church from World War II Germany. I like this church building. It's huge. Enormous. This church was bombed very heavily during the occupation over Germany, the Allied bombing over Germany, and in the 1950s there was very little of it left and it was completely demolished. This is a proposal for the Holy Trinity Church. A church building that was never completed. This is how it would have looked like. I like this one. Ah, this thing. This is called the Beacon of Progress. The Beacon of Progress Tower. This tower was proposed in the 1800s, and it was over 470 meters tall. This tower was not only gargantuan, its aesthetic was entirely imposing as well. 475 meters tall in the 1800s. Nothing like this was ever proposed back then. This thing would have completely dwarfed the Eiffel Tower. It was designed for one of the expositions by a man who never got to build his architecture, except maybe one building, but this was his crowning achievement, the Beacon of Progress Tower. And now here's a close-up of it. Check this out. These are statues of lions. You see these little figures here? These are people. Look at the size of it now. It looks like something from the underworld. It's gargantuan. Monolithic, dark, sinister, imposing. Look at those people, they're like ants. This is a New York design for a perfect apartment complex on this tiny little island, this artificial platform island. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 apartment buildings. It's connected to bridges with the mainland and the main city. It was never built. A very 1950s futuristic vision of a neighborhood of tomorrow. Nothing ever came out of this. This is how one person imagined the future to be like. Four levels of traffic. One underground, one above ground, 3 down on the ground, 3 underground. The first level is for people walking and bicycles. Second level is for light traffic. Second level is for heavier traffic. Third level is for heavier traffic, and fourth level is trains and streetcars, motor cars, railway cars. There's flying airships in the sky, landing fields on top of buildings, giant buildings, 2 times, 3 times, or 4 times the size of these ones today. Offices, restaurants, schools, living quarters and playgrounds, aircraft landing fields on top of cities and towers. His vision didn't come true. Some of these people are probably rolling in their graves, considering how the world turned out to be. This is a design for a futuristic city that never came about. Looks like something from an animated sci-fi series. Very exotic, weird, and twisted looking. They're like sculpture building, sculpture city. This is one of the most monumental proposals. This is a broadacre city, a utopian city design. It would have had these flying things in the sky. It was never built.